Francis Ngannou versus Anthony Joshua seems to be the next big heavyweight fight fans want to see for Francis, and Anthony has accepted a fight with Francis for December. David Price is a huge fan of this matchup, and he thinks that Anthony would be able to beat Francis. David stated, "I think Anthony would knock him out. I think he would. Styles make fights. He has the benefit of having seen Ngannou in the ring with Tyson Fury, so knows what to expect, and knows how to take it seriously, so knows what the upside would be of knocking him out." Tyson Fury had everything to lose and nothing to gain last night, and he did lose everything in a way. But now Joshua has everything to gain. It's all gone right for him. Francis' manager definitely thinks that Anthony Joshua has a ton of potential to fight Francis.
Of course, yeah. Those are some of the options that we've been discussing for a long time. I think what kind of emerged as of late was Anthony Joshua. Right, we've had the conversations with Deontay. Obviously, Tyson's there, but now Joshua, can be a potential suitor. Obviously, Eddie Hearn, I have a ton of respect for him as a promoter, and he does a great job. He thinks that Anthony Joshua can make light work of Francis, and it's just actually the team. We were hoping before the Tyson Fury stuff ever came to be about. We were hoping that we got a chance to fight Anthony Joshua. I personally think that's easy work for Francis. I'm not even.
Dan Hardy really thinks that Francis has a chance to pull off something great here, as he could potentially hold belts in MMA and boxing simultaneously. Dan stated, "He of all people on the planet right now, I would say could hold a heavyweight title in boxing and in MMA simultaneously. That is an unthinkable thing. He's within punching distance of a title shot if he has a couple of good wins. Even Anthony Joshua, I feel like he can't deal with the power of Ngannou, both physiologically and psychologically. I feel like if AJ hit the canvas in the third round, he would not regroup in the way that Tyson Fury did. The likes of Derek Chisora or Carlos Takam or Joe Joyce, who's upright, places his punches like amateur boxing point scoring style, that's a great matchup for Francis Ngannou. So with the right matchups, the right progress, I honestly think he could be the PFL heavyweight champ and the WBC champ at the same time." Michael Bisping believes that Anthony Joshua could be a possible fight, but he also thinks that AJ would want to wait until Francis does one more fight.
Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. Sign me up, take my money. But will that be the one? I really don't know. I don't know if that's the one that makes sense. I don't know if Anthony Joshua wants to take that fight. I feel somebody like Anthony Joshua is going to want to take another look at him first, just to kind of get a sense of where he's at. Was it beginner's luck for Francis Ngannou? Was Tyson Fury off? Was he sick? Was it a shitty performance? Did he take him lightly? I think Joshua would want, and again, what do I know? This is just spitballing off the top of my head. I think he'd probably want to see Francis take another fight, so he can watch him, he can assess him, he can get an impression of his timing and his rhythm and the combinations that he likes to throw. Obviously, he's got massive power. Obviously, he's a novice. Obviously, he can go 10 rounds. And clearly, the man has a chin, because he did take some good shots off Tyson Fury. So, Anthony Joshua, maybe. Sign me up, take my money.
As for Bisping's prediction for the potential fight, he really thinks that Francis has a chance. Bisping stated, "I think after what we saw on Saturday night, Ngannou-AJ is a competitive fight, and there's a possibility that Ngannou wins. AJ's not as fast as Fury, and you can never underestimate Ngannou. We know that he'll have a good go. I think he can have a good go with anyone. I think he beats anyone on Fury's record. Derek Chisora, Dillian White, Deontay Wilder, Tom Schwartz, Otto Wallen. He beats all of them for sure." Of all the names people are saying could fight with Francis, Paulie Malignaggi believes that Anthony Joshua is the biggest payday. Paulie stated, "Ideally, you bring in Anthony Joshua, who's beyond his prime and has been a little hesitant lately. Him and Ngannou create a little bit of drama. Tentative Joshua against puncher Ngannou. Could that create a situation where Ngannou is dangerous? A Joshua fight could earn him $15 to $20 million at least. Joshua is the biggest money fight of all the names being mentioned." Spencer Oliver really thinks that Anthony Joshua would be able to flatten Francis in the ring.
And now it makes it an interesting one, doesn't it? Because I saw Eddie Hearn saying, Eddie was right, I agree with him when he said that, you know, he thought that Ngannou won the fight, and he went, AJ, if AJ boxes Ngannou, I think stylistically, that Ngannou, like AJ would flatten Ngannou. So I just think that's the way that I think it would go. Like, don't go off that performance. So I just think the Fury boxed really below par. I mean, it's an interesting one, but it puts Ngannou into the mix, and it, you know, continues this sort of crossover fights, don't it? Because I think that we're going to see Ngannou in with some big names now as well.
Dewey Cooper is definitely anxious to see Francis fight Anthony Joshua, and he hopes that it happens soon. Dewey stated, "Any of them, because we're going to devise a plan and be ready. But I definitely love an Anthony Joshua fight. I definitely love that fight. And you know, Deontay Wilder, that's a good fight also. But honestly, real champions see no faces. They're willing to fight whomever because they believe in themselves, they believe in their abilities, and they know they can make the adjustment to defeat anyone. That's what the Tyson Fury fight was about." Eddie Hearn is really pushing for Francis to fight Anthony Joshua. Eddie stated, "Now, Francis Ngannou has beaten Tyson Fury. I'm up for it. I've not spoken to AJ. He may say, I want to fight Wilder, I want to do this. But I might have spoken to Saudi Arabia already. I've spoken to a few people. I think Fury Usyk is a damp squib. But if it's contracted and undisputed fights are always great, again, I have to speak to the boss. But I like AJ Ngannou. For me, light work. You have to respect it. He just beat Tyson Fury. He should have been given the decision." Kenny Florian was really worried about Francis coming through with his MMA fighting, but he definitely thinks that we'll see that happen along with an Anthony Joshua fight. Kenny stated, "I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a concern right now because he has the ability to be a star in a completely different sport now. That just opened up a ton of opportunities for him, not only in the rematch with Tyson Fury, you have Anthony Joshua and his manager that's calling him out now. I mean, people want to fight this guy now because he's such an amazing story. But I do think we'll see Francis Ngannou in the cage. I think early 2024 we'll at least see one mixed martial arts fight. I think Francis is someone who's going to honor this. This wouldn't have happened without the PFL. I think he'll come back and we'll have this one mixed martial arts fight. I think it's going to help the pay-per-view tremendously for the PFL." Carl Froch really wants Francis to box around and fight Anthony Joshua or Alexander Usyk before going back to Tyson Fury, and he stated, "I'd give him 1 or 2 more fights at a top 10 or top 15 level. Put him in there with someone like Derek Chisora or even Dillian White, that sort of level." Joseph Parker boxed on the bill that night, and he looked pretty good actually, and he's only 31. He might still have a bit of a career ahead of him, but that sort of level, and then have a crack at the big ones because that was a 10-rounder against Fury. Obviously, pro boxing is 12 rounds and he's not used to doing it, so he needs some training camps and some sparring, or just roll the dice. If he can get a big fight with someone like Usyk or Anthony Joshua or the rematch with Fury, do that. Big money fights, and that's what he's in it for. He just made big money, so why not go back in there with a couple more big money fights, and then retire as a hero because the public absolutely love this Ngannou guy. Well, according to Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua is ready to fight Francis Ngannou as soon as December. Eddie stated, "We'd take that fight on December 23rd, no problem. We're looking at that date for Joshua anyway. Maybe I'll reach out to them and say, listen, if you're looking for an opponent for Francis Ngannou, AJ's ready. December 23rd, no problem at all. I'd like more time promotionally to make that fight what it is, one of the biggest fights out there, but no problem." If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.